Here from our race winner of tonight's second Budweiser Duel at Daytona, and that is Denny Hamlin. He's the driver of the number 11 FedEx Express Toyota. He's joined up front by his crew chief, Darian Grubb, and team owner, Coach Joe Gibbs. Denny, congratulations. You've been to victory lane already once here during Speed Weeks with the Sprint Unlimited and now this Duel. What is your outlook, obviously, Sunday for Daytona?
Just, keep doing what we're doing. I mean, we're, on a roll, obviously, and, we executed the race today great. I didn't execute the first part of the race that well, trying to, make moves and try not to, run single file. I kind of wanted to spice things up a little bit, and it ended up taking me to the rear for the most part, but fought our way back. And really the goal was just to get ourselves in the position and somewhere in the top 10 within a second of those guys when they pitted, so I could rely on my pit crew to kind of do the rest. And we performed a great pit stop and, really got out there with a lead. A little worried about how big of a lead we had off pit road, but, everything kind of worked out good. The two kind of gave me a shove as he's coming in for a pit road penalty, and that kept my momentum up enough to stay ahead of the pack. So after that, just kind of watched and learned what happened in the first duel with the 20. He decided to keep the high line going. Even on the white flag lap, I felt like going ahead and protecting bottom early with a lap to go was better for us. And either way, we still came out on top. So it was a good executed race.
And Darian, just talk about the number 11, how strong it's been so far, and what your outlook is for Sunday.
It's just been a lot of fun. A lot of hard work went in this off season into all these cars, and preparation's shown up now with the performance. And Denny's been doing a great job, and he was able to make an audible on that call for the pit there. We knew everything was getting bunched up on the backstretch for the lap we were going to pit. So he made the call, and I okayed it, and it ended up working out in our favor strategy-wise. So we had talked about that several times in our notes already about getting clean in and off pit road just to keep the car in one piece. We knew tonight, no matter what we did, we had to just finish top 15 to guarantee ourselves in the 500, and we knew we had a strong car. So the guys at the shop and Joe Gibbs Racing have done a great job in preparation, and I hope we can keep it rolling for Sunday.
Coach Joe Gibbs, just talk about the performance of this 11 team. Certainly winning last year's season finale at Homestead, Miami, now the Sprint Unlimited, the Duel, and then in the first Duel tonight, one of your other race teams was in victory lane with the 20 car. Just talk about that momentum maybe that brings you.
Well, I think, first of all, last year it was so hard on us, and I got to tell you, Homestead was a huge deal for us. That was a big win. I think it gave everybody their confidence going into the off season. Denny's worked extremely hard, and I think we're all hungry when the year started. So that certainly helps. We're
starving.
We're proud. Yeah, we're proud of Toyota and FedEx. I talked to Mike Glenn and Fred Smith, and they're thrilled. It was a tough year for us last year, and like I said, and our guys worked extremely hard, and we're proud of them. And this is fun.
We'll take questions now. I believe David Caravello had the first one. And we'll go to Randy and then to Jenna.
David Caravello, NASCAR.com. Denny, you look at you and Matt tonight and your win last week. That's 3 victories in shorter nighttime races. I mean, what kind of an indication do you think that is for the cars you and Matt have for the 500, a longer event in the daytime?
Well, I think that practice will probably give us a little better sense of that. The little bit of practice we had in the first 500 practice yesterday, the cars drove a lot different. They moved around a lot. Obviously, we saw a couple incidents during practice. So I think that I'm not necessarily sold on that whatever's worked here, these few night races is going to be what you'll roll out for the 500. I think chassis handling will play a factor, especially if we're going to run this long on a set of tires. So we still got quite a bit of work to do.
Let's go over here to Randy and then to Jenna and then George.
Yeah, for Joe and anyone else. Joe over here, Coach.
Yeah. Where
JD was in earlier after Matt's win and talked about 1993 21 years since you guys have won a Daytona.
How hard is that? Don't bring that up. Why did JD bring that up?
How hard is that to believe, and considering all the other success you've had, and just what goes into that?
We've come with great cars over the years, and it shows you what a tough race this is, the 500. Like I said, we've won once, probably one of the greatest sporting experiences I've ever had. And I was thrilled. Tonight, to be quite truthful, Darian and I talked earlier today. I was so worried about this. I had a sheet with all the cars and what could happen and what can't happen for us to not make it and all this kind of stuff. I told him when I saw Denny come off 4 over there, I took it, tore it in half, threw it on the floor. I said, man, we're in. So we're just thrilled to be in this situation. Kyle had a tough day, and that was awful for us. Dollar General and Matt, we're excited about where we are with all 3 of our drivers and crew chiefs, and we've worked extremely hard, and we're prepared for this year. But this race is extremely, extremely hard to win, the 500. And like I said, I think that probably says it the best. I don't know how many times we've come here with cars, but, over 22 years, that's a bunch.
Go to Jenna.
Jennifer, AP, I want to ask this question 2 different ways because it's for Denny and Joe. Drivers have dominated speed weeks before, but no driver has ever swept speed weeks. So for Denny, how do you go about becoming the first driver to win all 3 races? And for Joe, you've had drivers, particularly Tony, who have kind of built it up like they'll be the first driver to do it. Do you ever feel like this will be the year and only for it sort of to come up empty and be disappointed come Sunday?
For my part, I think the biggest challenge we'll have for myself is that keeping the reins back on me for 400 miles, 450 miles. It's going to be a much longer race, and obviously when you go out here and you perform the way we have over these last few races, it's hard not to just want to go out there, charge out there, and show that you're still on top and still the best right on lap 1. And I think that will be my challenge within myself is keeping the reins back and realizing how long this race is and trying to be as patient as I can. I thought I was a little bit restless at the start of this race. I thought a little aggressive. If I could have redone things, and it didn't pay off at the beginning. We made a charge to the front, but didn't get there, and then it really kind of backfired. So it's going to be battling those inner demons of wanting to go out there and lead laps and putting yourself in a safe position, but also making sure you're conservative and you're there at the end of the day.
Yeah, for me, I'm never. To me, I'm always concerned in pro sports, anything can happen. And I don't think I ever go into something where I feel like, hey, we got this thing. It's just not, that's just not the way, I personally ever look at it. So many things got to go your way. I think drivers and crew chiefs, they're more optimistic than I am because I don't know. I'm always nervous about it. But you make great preparation and go for it. I know this. You win one of these 500s. It's one of the greatest experiences. That night we got lost. We didn't even know what to do. We didn't know where Victory Lane was. Norm Miller's with us and all this. We wound up at the Steak and Shake down the street. There were about 15 people in there hammered, and we came in with the trophy. And we were out in the parking lot taking pictures of the trophy with all of our families.
That sounds like my kind of night.
So
Can we do that tonight?
We had a ball, man.
Can we do that tonight? Seriously, let's take the trophy to Steak and Shake.
Let's do. I want to do it a Sunday night. I'll go to Steak and Shake again. We'll go down there and have a party.
Let's go back in the back to George, and then up here to we'll go to Lewis. George, Lewis, Mike.
Yeah, George Diaz with the Orlando Sentinel. After that, I'm tempted to ask if you ever did that when you won some Super Bowl titles, Coach, but I guess we'll leave it at that. This is for both Coach and Denny. You've touched upon the Homestead deal. Can both of you elaborate on just how that translates and correlates into the success you're having now?
My bad.
Well, I think it's a total different beast here at this racetrack. We all know that. And it'd be easy if this all sequence of races and all that was happening at a track, any other non-restricted racetrack, you would think, man, our shot at the 500, we pretty much lock us in. But these races are so circumstantial to the positions that you're in, and everyone's got equal cars. It's just it's so tough to win one because you don't get the entire field out there until the big day on Sunday. And so, for us, I think that's the key. It's not some magic setup that's putting us in this position all the time. It's all the circumstances that we're putting ourselves in. So that's what's going to make it hard to complete all this. But the win at Homestead, I mean, although it gave us a ton of confidence, and the biggest thing for me was when I got to Daytona, 2013 was over. We're talking about this year and obviously what we can do on this upcoming race and the one that's coming up next. So for me, that's the biggest thing. Is obviously you had each wins have been special in certain ways, and obviously for us, the win tonight keeps our roll going from this week. It's obviously the start of Speed Weeks with the Unlimited win was special because I started off 2014 the way we ended 13. But I don't think they correlate in the momentum because you have 2 months of downtime. It's just you get rejuvenated, you get excited about a clean slate that we have for ourselves this year, but we still don't have any more points than anyone at this point of the year. So we still got a lot of work to do.
I think the other thing about Homestead, for me, when I watched Denny and Darian go through the year, they sacrificed for our other 2 cars. There were times that they ran experimental stuff. Denny in the meetings was awesome. He was always trying to help Kyle and Matt. And, of course, Kyle had that experience 2 years ago. But we appreciate Toyota, all their hard work. But to see these 2 guys sacrifice through that year, and then at the end, we kind of said, okay, we're going to go try and get these last races, and to get that last one was a big deal for us.
Got a question in the press box. Go ahead.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Denny, I know you're a big confidence guy, and, like in basketball, for instance, I'm sure there's times when you get hot and you feel like you can't miss, and golf and the other sports you play. Now that you're kind of riding a hot streak here, I mean, what did that feel like tonight as you're leading again, and it looks like you have a dominant car again, just kind of like the car you had the other night? I mean, are you in the car just thinking to yourself, man, I cannot lose, nobody can pass me? And what does that confidence level like? Well,
it's a constant learning experience of what I need to do and to play the right defense to stay out front. But that's kind of what you have boiling in your head, and really I knew it. Going into turn 3, I felt like when the guys were fighting for third or whatever they were fighting for, that it's we pretty much got this as long as we don't run out of fuel like those other guys seem like they did. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like as soon as I saw all those cars pit on pit road, and we decided to make the decision to stay out, run one more lap, I knew we were going to have a huge lead. And the way I got on pit road, everything was just executed perfectly. I felt like I nailed all my timing lines. Everything was good. The pit stop, I really didn't wait much on Darian's call. I was kind of looking at the gas guys' heads to start nodding, and I was taking off. So everything was just executed so much. I knew we were going to have a huge lead, and then it was on my shoulders to defend that lead for the last 20 laps or so. So when things go good, they go good all around, not just from my standpoint, but the strategy side of things. And right now it's just a huge snowball it's really like an avalanche, and it's just not stopping.
Let's go back downstairs. I think Nate had a question. Raise your hand, Nate. Nate Lewis.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Denny, you were talking about how you sort of had to maybe go into Sunday restraining yourself a little bit. You won your first restrictor plate race that you started in the Cup Series with the shootout 8 years ago, but then you haven't won a restrictor plate since. Now you're undefeated this week. Is there something you're doing differently this week? Are you approaching it differently, or why the sudden just surge of success here?
Well, it's got to be law of averages. I've wrecked out for 5 straight years out of every restrictor plate race I ever entered after I won that first one. So, I mean, you know, it's obviously by the stats, the worst racetrack we can go to is a super speedway, but I felt like I've been pretty good at it. I've just, you know, had crummy luck and got in some bad positions and put myself in bad spots and gotten in a lot of wrecks. I think that this package, I've not got figured out, but I feel like I understand it pretty well. And obviously, you know, we've got a lot of tools that help us with that. And I don't know. You do it by going out there and with repetitions. And for me, I don't come on pit road and practice till Darian says that's enough and bring it in. I'll just run every lap of practice if I could, if the pack's big enough, because I feel like every lap I'm out there, I'm learning something else. And with this new package, I feel like you need repetition. So you need to be out there learning what this pack can do and getting yourself in all kinds of different positions. We've done it in practice, and it's correlated to good finishes.
Lewis?
Louis Frank of Reuters. Coach, apologies in advance for bringing up the drought again, but is there any time that you could compare the campaigns in football to a campaign here in NASCAR when you wait with, you know, interim victories but missing the big prize?
Well, I think what you learned, you know, in football, it was the same. You know, 87, you go to the Super Bowl. 88, you can't hit a thing. I just know in pro sports, 1 year doesn't guarantee you the next year. We're a perfect example. Kyle missed the chase 2 years ago. Denny missed it this year. But so I don't think in pro sports, it can turn so quickly. We see it in the NFL. We see it over here. And I think there's a lot. These are the best people in the world doing this. And these guys are the most talented people in the world. And you got the crew chiefs, they're some of the brightest people around as far as racing cars. But this thing can twist and turn. And I don't think you ever really get a handle on it. You just stay after it. And like Denny said, maybe if you're good enough long enough, sooner or later it catches up with you.
Final question right here from Mike.
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. Darian, you've been sitting here this whole time, and I said a word, so we'll give you one. I mentioned to Jason earlier when they were in here, but the Toyotas didn't qualify exceptionally well at all, and yet you've gotten in these races, and they seem to be able to do what they want and get to the front when they want. Is that something about the aero of the Toyota bodies in the pack, or is it just the way that it takes them a little bit longer to get wound up?
If we knew the answers to that, we'd definitely be qualifying better right now. But we've worked hard as a program with Toyota as a partnership and working with MWR and the other Toyota guys. And honestly, Clint Boyer was a really good teammate with us out there this afternoon, working to be able to push us up through there when we did get shuffled to the back. So it's just a team effort when we get into races, working together to try to make sure we get the strongest finishes we can. And we're definitely working on all the qualifying effort. We have good speed. We had good speed in the test in January, and just not sure where that last little bit is. We need to keep moving up that chart.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, well, my teammates qualified on the front row Daytona last year. Yeah. I think I was 28th. But they raced horrible. And every time we seem to qualify in the back, you know, back in our heyday when our cars were unbelievable on super speedways in 09 and 10, we qualified about like we were right now, and we raced exceptional. So I'd much rather have it this way.
Congratulations to Denny Hamlin, the number 11 FedEx Express Toyota, Darian Grubb, and Joe Gibbs Racing, and good luck at the Daytona 500.